All right. Hey, Terry.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm here with Terry and her dog,
Olive.
almost 19 years old, Olive. When's Olive's birthday?
This week.
This week. Happy early birthday, Olive. She's so
4th
cute.
of July with a 4-day margin of error.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of made it the
So
4th of July.
it's absolutely gorgeous here, Terry. I mean, I pull off the highway, and the Housatonic Mountains. Did I say that right?
Berkshires.
The Berkshires, the Housatonic Mountains. Is that
Berkshire Mountains.
Berkshire Mountains? Okay, so
But there is a Housatonic River.
Housatonic
that's
River.
where
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. And I'm just driving on old country roads and passing barns and farms and cows and people riding horses on the streets. It's gorgeous here.
It is
I mean,
really gorgeous.
what a place to live for the dogs, and not just you, but for the dogs as well. Unbelievable. So Olive here, gonna be 19 in a week. Now when did Olive come into your life?
She was a puppy. She was born in a shelter in Ohio, and I had another German Shepherd, and I wanted him to have a friend because I had another dog, a Norwegian Elk Hound, that had died the previous year.
Oh.
And my Shepherd never had lived alone. So I thought he could probably adjust best if I got a puppy. And I honestly hadn't had a dog from puppy since I was a kid. I always adopted dogs that were a few years old. So anyway, I found her online, and she was with her siblings, and I got to pick her out of the group on a transport coming out from the shelter in Ohio.
Wow.
I lived in Pennsylvania at the time. So they presented all these beautiful puppies out the back of a van, and it gets me choked up, but what I think about her is she came out kissing. When the guy put each puppy toward me, she came toward me like
licking,
like doing smooches. Yeah, I'm like, oh God,
this is the one.
I have no choice now.
She's the one.
So
How could you say
she was the one?
How could you turn your back on that?
I know. And they said that she was 6 weeks old, but when I took her to the vet right after getting her, the vet said, I don't think she's even 6 weeks.
Oh, younger.
I know. Yes.
Wow, that's really young to be away from the mom.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about Olive's parents or the health of the parents or anything like that?
No, I really don't.
Really don't.
I just had some kind of I wish I could find it. I had an agreement from the shelter, that I would give her back if I didn't keep her, that sort of thing.
Right.
But I don't remember it having anything about her lineage or her parents. She looked like a purebred shepherd.
Yep.
As did all of her siblings. They all looked exactly the same.
She's a little bit smaller than, was she about 40 pounds?
She can be 50 at her
50?
highest weight, but
Okay.
45, yeah, roughly.
Gorgeous.
Usually. She's underweight right now. There you go.
Yeah.
Do you want me? She's trying to look at me.
If at any point it's too hot for her out here,
It will. She hates the heat.
Just let me know and I'll stop it and we'll.
It's okay.
But yeah, so Olive came to you most likely earlier than 6 weeks, which is shocking. And kind of tell me about, what is she spayed or neutered?
Yes.
She's spayed. I'm sorry. She is spayed. Do you know when she was spayed?
I got her spayed when she was, I think, just over a year.
Okay.
I remember I wanted to wait a year because at the time I thought that was the wise thing to do.
Right.
And so I got her first puppy shots, and that's the only shots she has had in her life.
Now, do you remember what puppy shots she got? Was it like all of them, or just distemper, parvo, rabies?
To my recollection, it was all of them, because I think you have to go back twice, or this has been many years ago.
Yeah, I'm not positive, but so she got the core set.
She did.
Okay, and then you never did any. She never got any more even after that.
No.
What about rabies?
No.
No. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I'm careful. I used to be careful who I said that to.
I know.
Because it was so frowned upon.
Yeah.
And I did get years.
If you want me to cut that out, I will.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. I mean, I think that's a factor. That's a big factor.
Well, and I told that to Dr. Roman, and the reason is I had a dog who I adored who died of cancer at the age of 12. So I went crazy going, why?
Right.
What could I have done? The ways we torture ourselves about that. And so, again, this is going back a lot of years, But I did the research I could, and I thought, all right, she's never running wild. I'm with her 24/7.
Right.
She's out in a yard. It's a fenced yard.
Yep.
With her brother,
Right.
dog, and me.
Exactly.
So the chances of her, to me, the chances of her getting rabies or something bad
Right.
outside, I thought were pretty slim compared to what I felt were the risks of giving her the shots. And that's
Exactly.
again, that's my personal thing. And I did have titer tests a few years in.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you about that.
Well, the reason I did that is because I was going to go on a trip, and I was going to be gone 10 days or something, and I wanted to board her at a nice place, and they insisted on the shot records. So that's
Yeah.
when I got titers. And can you believe? I mean, she had to have been at least 4 or 5. She still had plenty of
Protection.
that many years.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if that's common or not, and I'm not saying they were all at the top of their range, but they were acceptable enough
That's great.
at that time.
That's great. I believe Allie has like toxic levels of. I don't know if I said that right, but it was way too high,
Wow.
and she's been way over vaccinated for it. I don't know how many shots, but it's been a while since I've done it, and I don't plan on doing
It's
it.
a touchy topic,
Yeah.
even for pretty informed and extremely loving pet parents.
Well, they're only
because-
meant. You should only be doing a healthy animal.
Right.
And that's the thing, and I believe veterinarians only get one shot, then they titer themselves.
Wow.
So that's great. So, that you answered my question. I was going to ask you what is your stance on vaccines, and I was going to ask you some more details, but that's great. That's wonderful.
She's turning
Just
so hard
kinda
to see me. I'm just going to lay her
What
down.
I expected. I wasn't expecting you to say only got one rabies, but I was kind of hoping you were. So I was really happy to hear
It's
that.
really,
Hi, Olive.
it's really true.
She's so adorable.
She's
Olive,
hot now, for
unbelievable.
sure.
She is treated like a queen. Look at this blanket, and then she's got some
Got a
AstroTurf,
silk pillow,
and then
a
she's
wool
got
blanket.
Terri handcrafted that bowl with the
It
loving
does look a little
hands.
stagey.
No, it didn't. But
She's missing her
she didn't.
diamond crown, though. Her
Yeah,
tiara.
she's amazing. She deserves it. She absolutely deserves it.
Alex, what about me? I
Hi.
deserve it.
Yes, you're cute.
Adorable.
Okay, so now let's talk about the diet. So you told me she's been eating homemade food most of her life. So does that mean she has been on some processed? And
Absolutely.
She has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's been in recent, probably a little more than 10 years that I've started really learning about, homemade food and getting information from veterinarians that I know, holistic veterinarians primarily,
Right.
about how to do that. And then that information has changed over time, so I've tried to roll with that a bit. But there was definitely a big part of her life where I was feeding her probably like just the best I could afford,
Yeah.
And I also believed that making homemade food would be wildly expensive. And it's not really.
It's really not.
No, especially if you do it kind of in bulk,
Yeah.
And so I would say at least most of her life she's had a pretty well balanced homemade diet, and usually supplemented by a good multivitamin, calcium.
Can you tell me what would be in a typical bowl for her? Would it be cooked chicken, some carrots, and what would her bowl usually look
I
like?
vary it a little, and it's typically I used to make it more like 60-70% protein, meat, and now I think I've gone more to like the 60-40, and she doesn't do great with chicken because chicken is inflammatory.
It's inflammatory.
So when I learned that, chicken's a lot less expensive, but these days she eats mostly like 80-20 beef.
Beef. Here's the fat there.
Yes.
That's good. That's
and
good.
occasional eggs.
Superfood.
Every day she gets sardines,
Wonderful.
wild caught sardines in
Love it.
oil.
Awesome.
She's crazy. She's a fish dog. Yeah. So sometimes the
fish dog.
protein is like a wild caught pollock or a whitefish.
And you pick that up at the grocery mart, or do you
Yeah.
look? Okay.
At the grocery. I haven't found really a great source for it otherwise. I wish I had more time to really research other resources for fish.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
She
amazing.
really likes it.
Yeah.
But I've varied the vegetables. A lot of broccoli because I know
Yeah.
Broccoli is super good.
It's got some anti-cancer properties, and
Yes.
it's really a wonderful food as well. That's great. So now, were you working with anybody on the diet, or were you kind of just doing your best to kind of piece it together and learn
I was
and
doing,
do your
yeah. Sorry, I cut you
yeah?
off there.
No.
I was kind of cobbling it together with bits of information, best advice I could find from a variety of vets.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started seeing my current vet, who's integrative, she has a whole, she's got a web page with all this information on how to put together different types of diets. And as homemade goes, real specific. And so that's what I'm following right now for her. And she also, because of her age and conditions that she's had, she's on a number of supplements that I think are really useful.
Like, what kind of supplements would you like?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, they've grown over a period of time. But calcium,
Yep.
seaweed calcium.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep.
And
I use that one.
fish oil.
Yep.
Which is either like a wild caught salmon oil
Mm-hmm.
or krill
Yep.
oil, and she loves it
Wonderful.
too. So I pour that in with her food.
That's great.
But also like boswellia,
Yeah.
where it's a natural pain.
Yep.
Isn't that frankincense? I think.
I believe so.
So she's not really until recently. She's not been on any like pharmaceuticals.
Until
all.
recently.
Well,
So she went most of her.
working with her hips.
Yes. So she pretty much went most of her life without any pharmaceuticals.
Or even vet visits.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I feel like I sound like a bad
No.
dog mommy, but
No.
I swear there was at least a 10-year period where she didn't go to the vet at all.
Well, that's interesting because in Rodney, you know Rodney Habib, right?
Yes, I know he is.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
What's
amazing.
inspired me to like do all this. So, he interviewed Brian McLaren, who had the oldest dog, Maggie, the 30-year-old dog in
I
Australia.
know about Maggie. Yeah.
Maggie didn't go to the vet, like really at all. Like a vet would come to the farm, and but Maggie was just Maggie, and she didn't get spayed, I believe, till she was 14 or 15 years old,
Gosh.
and just never really, didn't go to the vet. So that's incredible. And that doesn't. We're not saying, for anyone watching this, we're not saying don't take your dog to the vet,
I'm definitely not saying
or
that.
to deny them medications that could help their quality of life. But those pharmaceuticals should be more of a last resort. And we have things like homeopathy and herbs and diet, and other alternative holistic therapies that can really,
the other part of that
help.
The other part of that reasoning there for me is that I've worked from home for her whole life.
Right.
So I have my eyes on her, my hands on her all the time.
Yes.
So if anything's going wrong with her,
You
I'm pretty much going to be able to tell.
Listening to your animals, you always know.
Yes.
That's great.
And German Shepherds they tend to be kind of emotional dogs.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if you tune into your dog, and especially if your dog's a German Shepherd, you probably will know if something's going on. So yeah, she was
wonderful.
also, I swear, in her puppyhood and in her younger years, the most active dog I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Non-stop ball player. Would just wear you out. Here's the ball. Here's the ball. Here's the ball.
So yeah, now exercise. So she loved chasing tennis balls.
She just likes to run. Chasing a tennis ball.
How much exercise
Oh my
do
God.
you think she got on average a day?
Well, it's hard to quantify it because I'll be honest, a lot of it was indoors. I had a big house,
Yeah.
and she would I'm working, and she would come and give me the ball, and I would
throw
just
it.
pitch it. This is really, really, really long hallway that went between multiple rooms.
Yeah.
And I would pitch it to her. And one kind of funny thing is, I remember a number of years ago, my ex, who was her daddy, and still adores her, he was babysitting her one time, and I'll never forget, he said, I love her to pieces. You have to come and get her because she will not let me work. Because she's just like, she thinks that everything is about the tennis ball.
Yeah. That's great.
But, she always had a sibling dog. Yep. She was never alone.
Right.
So I think that activity, playing, roughhousing, and walks, and always a fenced yard.
Well, today, before we started recording here, Terri, we were having a conversation. I told you, Allie sits on the couch and waits for me, looking out the bay window, 7, 8, 9 hours a day maybe when I'm working Monday through Friday.
That's most dogs.
And most dogs do
Yeah.
that, and so they're not getting that. They're not getting to experience this, right? So and that's natural to them. So and what's not natural, sitting on the couch all day, being sedentary, missing the owner, can be stressful to them.
That's true. I mean, that was the case for my dogs, other dogs earlier in my life,
Yeah.
for sure. And I know they need to sleep kind of a lot of hours.
They do need to sleep. They do.
Like I think I said to you, mine are probably half the time. Like, could you give me a minute, leave me alone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's one of the pros about it, is they get to rest.
Yeah.
I think with COVID and everything, a lot of people are home with their dogs and taking them on more walks, and that can be a good thing, but can also be like, they need rest.
They definitely do. I think mine
rest.
could use more rest than they get.
But that's wonderful though. So she got a lot of exercise. Was she ever like a swimmer?
She never liked to swim.
No.
No. I mean, she didn't freak out about water, but
Yeah.
I've lived near a few lakes. I live by a lake here, and I would often just try walking her into the water. And
Yeah.
she's like, no,
Allie's never been a
not doing it.
big fan of the
She's
water.
not either?
Not really, no.
Mm.
She will if I throw a squeaky ball in there and get her all amped up, and then she goes in after it. But she won't go in willingly.
I'm not one of them.
No.
Not one of those dogs you see videos
No.
of who just like, oh, the
I know.
lake.
Well, it's shepherds. All the shepherds I've known that have been huge, like obsessed with the water,
No kidding.
obsessed with balls, and that's in water too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
No,
wow.
Not a big fan.
Man, what else am I missing? So what about? We touched on exercise. We touched on diet. We touched on spay neuter vaccines and how she came into your life. But what about stress? How do you feel like? Has she been kind of a zenned out dog most of her life?
Well,
or
that's a really interesting question to me, because I have had pockets, even a few years at a time, in my life, including the last 2 years, that were enormously stressful, and I actually had a lot of guilt about that, because if I'm in the house and I get a bad phone call and I'm exclaiming like after it, that, and stomping around, we're people.
yeah.
I felt really certain that I affect her, and I
course.
see her reflecting me back to me. I swear it, that I see that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel like, over the last 2 years where her mobility has gotten, really chancy,
Yeah.
I really can't help but feel like
Of course, yeah.
I've
That's
contributed
stress.
to that
We're
by,
only human,
yeah.
So,
But other than that, she's always, her personally, she's a mellow.
yeah.
She's never been a dog that just stresses out, stares
Right.
out the window for something to bark at.
hmm Yeah, I saw
I'm talking about you.
your golden in there. It was just put his chin on the windowsill a minute ago, before when I came up here originally, and didn't bark,
He didn't bark.
very very mellow.
He's super attached to her.
Is he?
Oh, I can't. If I leave with her in the car, he flips out in the house. So I have to, every time I take her somewhere, he's got to go.
He's got to go.
And he sleeps
very-
up. He
very
sleeps up
bonded.
against her.
Yeah. Oh,
He's,
amazing.
yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. So I feel like, did we leave anything else out?
Well, did you want me to talk about what she's been through last?
Absolutely, yeah. Why don't so Ola's gonna be 19 in a week, which is freaking incredible. You just don't hear that much anymore. And so she's obviously weak, and she's got some muscle wasting going on. But why don't you tell us about what's going on with her, health wise?
Right now, she's very healthy. She got new blood work back yesterday.
Amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
She's had her things, but she's really in good shape, except for the mobility in her back end.
Yeah.
And I treated her for a big tumor late summer and fall.
Wow.
Until it was all gone. But the treatment of that,
When she was 17. 17, 18?
Almost 18, yeah.
Wow.
More like 18. 18, for sure 18.
Yeah.
But I tried the keto diet.
Mhm.
That's an anti-cancer diet.
Yep.
And at her age, I guess, it sent her into tragic diarrhea.
Too much fat and stress in her system.
Yeah, it was too. Her body couldn't handle it. So it created this whole spiral of her losing a lot of weight.
Ugh.
And so, she got down to, she should be 45, 50 pounds. She got down to 28 pounds. So naturally, she lost a lot of strength and
Wow,
muscle.
28.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
And so she's gaining back a lot. And I would say over the last 2 months or so, I'm taking her to physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned a whole lot about canine massage and exercises that we do every day.
Wonderful.
She goes to PT twice a week. And she's gone from having like just cords, like no real muscle, to gaining back muscle everywhere.
Yeah.
Hey, good girl.
Girl.
To
That's
really
amazing.
standing. She couldn't even stand assisted.
Yeah.
That decline was so fast
Right.
and drastic.
Allie.
But she's so steadily making progress. It's just undeniable progress. So I'm at right now trying to strengthen her really a lot on her front end
Mm-hmm.
with hopes that her back end will work again. She's got reflexes. She kicks her legs, her back legs in her sleep. So I then say, well, they work.
Well, that's great. I was
I
just
know it's
thinking
more
that's great.
complicated than that.
Yeah.
But the main recipe now is getting her really strong up front so that she can do more of the physio ball
Mm-hmm.
and in the cart and everything else I could do
That's great.
physical therapy.
How did you get linked up with Sarah? Sarah McKeegan. She's amazing.
You know, I either saw her a link about her on
Yeah.
your Facebook
Oh my
page.
god, really?
I think
Are you
that's
on there?
where- Yeah. I just saw a link somewhere and I went, oh, PT, let me learn because this is the new frontier for me,
Yeah.
for her, because I've never
Well,
had
It's
a dog have physical therapy.
right.
And the place I go, they have a pool. Hi. And they have a water treadmill. But so far, she's just doing.
That's great. Sarah,
Hi.
yeah, and Sarah's wonderful. We're starting
She's
to work
great.
together too. She's making me start to think about a lot of things that I never even thought about before. Like we're gonna put on Allie on an exercise plan.
Wow.
Things like that. That a lot of people don't really.
People don't know about it.
people
and
don't know about
Of
it.
course, I wish I had known these things a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
so that when she started acting stumbly, I could have done something at that point.
Right.
So she may end up using a cart,
That'd be wonderful.
and if so, I know
Hi.
plenty of dogs do very well.
Yeah,
What
That's
do
great.
you need? She's like,
I know.
she wants let's do something.
We should probably
I-
wrap this up in a few and take her inside so she's probably not too hot.
She's
but,
fine though. She doesn't look unhappy.
Good. Thank you for the drink, by the way. Terri
You're
is.
welcome.
She gave me this nice drink. She somehow knew I loved cranberry lime seltzer, and it's a beautiful day. It's not too hot out, but it's just right for me. But
it is pretty nice out.
yeah.
You know,
There's Hank right there.
Hi, Hank.
Hi, Hank. So when Olive had that mass in her liver, you said it was a gigantic mass at
It was
17,
large.
18 years old. What did you do for that?
It threw me into overdrive of
Right,
research.
research.
And my vet suggested that I look into the ketogenic canine. I think Mike Battaglia.
I'm Mike. I just bought
Okay.
some Mike meal plans from Mike
Okay.
about a month ago.
So I got a program from Mike, and that gosh, great. I read great things. I even read about the Keto Ranch, which
Yep.
is in Austin for dogs.
Yep.
Amazing, right?
Amazing.
Gosh. And then I also put her on some Chinese herbs and turkey tail, Coriolis, if
Yes.
it's real specific.
You guys probably have a lot of medicinal mushrooms out here on the Appalachian Trail.
I think so.
I mean,
yeah.
I have turkey tail in my area,
Gosh.
but I've seen when I've gone hiking in the Berkshires, I've seen lion's mane, I've seen, all sorts, all maitake. It's just you have more
Wow.
stuff
Here
here.
in my yard, we have that big, it's not portobello. What's the other real Morels.
Morels,
It's not
yes,
that big. They're just delicious.
yes, they are.
So in that pine tree area,
Yeah.
every year, a big batch of
So
Morels.
you put her on turkey tail and
Turkey tail and a Chinese herb from my vet.
Union Biao. Is that the one that stops the bleeding?
No, I had that on hand but never used it.
Okay.
No, it's just a support,
Yeah.
to
Wonderful.
strengthen against
Yep.
cancer, and also
Awesome.
then made adjustments with the diet. But like I said, she did not tolerate.
Yeah.
I tried raw. And she
So you
didn't
put her
tolerate
back
it.
on cooked. And was there anything different about the cooked?
Yes, when I put her back on cooked, I skewed heavily toward the broccoli
Mm-hmm.
and beef,
Mhm.
and it was super, super lean. So the downside of that is she'd already lost so much weight, it wasn't helping her gain weight back.
Right.
Oop. No, she'll try to get up and she'll kick the water bowl. So she's still on fairly lean because I know sugar feeds cancer.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any mass. When I started,
amazing.
I know when I started with the herbs. Oh, well, the main piece of the puzzle that I really think was the key for her.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. If you,
We'll
you
get up
gotta,
in a minute.
she comes first. You got to do what you got to do. I don't want to.
Oh, she doesn't. Sometimes she gets tired of being brought there. She just wants to lay down. There we go, baby.
Hey, good girl.
One thing I feel like, and also I ran this by my vet, and she said I don't see how it could hurt, and that's the Joe Tippins protocol, the fenbendazole,
Fenbendazole,
also known as Panicure.
Panicure, the dog dewormer.
Yes, inexpensive.
Yep. Some
And-
people think that cancer is like from a parasite, and so
That's
that
the
would make
theory.
sense. That's the
Yeah.
theory. And did you also do? I know he also used vitamin E and CBD. Did you do that
Yes,
too?
and from what I read from him, the type of vitamin E and the type of curcumin,
Yeah, curcumin. Yes.
yes,
Yep.
it's specific. It needs to be bioavailable.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I got really what I thought was the right ones, and I started her on it. I should stop and take her in.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
she's- I
Well,
think
we're gonna
she's
stop
hot.
this, and you're gonna come and go inside.